Here it is, the stretched version of the Opel Astra, or as Opel likes to call it, the Opel Astra Sports Tourer, or as I like to call it, the station, the wagon or the estate version of the Opel Astra. Now this is obviously the version you need to have if you like to haul a lot of stuff, or you like to take out the family on big holiday trips and you need a lot of cargo space. And this may also be the version that you need to have if you want to be the single person in your street that doesn't have an SUV parked in front of the house. In this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this Opel Astra Sports Tourer. I'm going to take you through the interior, the exterior, and we're going to take it out for a drive, and I'm going to show you what the difference is between the regular Astra and this Sports Tourer. Let's start this video with discussing the backhand of this car, because this is obviously what is new on the Astra, because the regular Astra hatchback is already out for like a couple of months now. Now what is really interesting on the backhand design on the Sports Tourer is the fact that it looks almost the same as on the hatchback. Now you may be thinking that doesn't sound that interesting, that doesn't sound weird at all, but usually when manufacturers make a station version of a hatchback or a sedan, the backhand design is usually a lot different compared to the sedan or the hatchback. But in this particular version it is basically the same. Even the tail lights are completely the same. These are the exact same tail lights that you get on the hatchback, and also the third brake light is also the same, the spoiler is the same. The only difference here in the back is the bumper, because on the hatchback version in the bumper you get the license plate, but on this version the license plate is located here on the hatch, as you can see. Now let me open the hatch and show you why they moved the license plate from the bumper onto the hatch. Now Opel knows that people who buy this car, they buy it for the cargo space. They want to haul a lot of stuff, and then it's really annoying if you have a car that has a really high loading floor. Now you guessed it, this car doesn't have a low loading floor because this car has a really narrow bumper, because there's no license plate here. The license plate is up here. So that's the reason why they changed it. On the hatchback version you get a really high loading floor. There's a big hump here and this car doesn't have it, so that's basically the reason why. So let's discuss the cargo space, because this is one of the reasons why people are interested in this Sports Tourer. Here you have almost 600 liters of cargo space, which is a lot. You don't get that in most compact SUVs. I do have to say this is the plug-in hybrid version that I have here, and this one offers 516 liters. So a little bit less, but still plenty, I would say. In this plug-in hybrid version you don't have extra storage space under the load floor. Well, you have a little bit of a cubby space here where you can leave your charging cables, but that's basically it. If you go for the regular version, the petrol or the diesel, you do get more space there, and you get a loading floor that you can set in different heights. But on this plug-in hybrid version you cannot, because here in the back the gas tank is located, because there's a battery under the rear seats, and then they had to move the gas tank all the way to the back. What is also different to the Astra hatchback is the fact that this car has a 40-20-40 configuration of the rear seats, so you can fold them down in 3 different parts. So if you want to, you can fold down the middle seat, so you can carry some longer items, and while still maintaining the ability to seat 2 persons in the back seats. Here in the second row you can really notice that this car is just a little bit bigger than the regular Opel Astra hatchback. This car has a slightly longer wheelbase, and that means that you have a little bit more space here in the back. I'm 1.80 m, 180 centimeters, and I'm actually quite comfortable here, more comfortable than I would be in the Opel Astra hatchback that I already tested. You can also check out that video if you want to. I will leave a link in the description box below to that video. Now this seat is in the same seating position as the seat here that I use when I'm driving, and as you can see my knees aren't hitting the seat in front of me, and I can also put my feet under the seat as well, which is always nice, and headroom is also pretty good. Now if you're bigger than me, I'm definitely not the longest person in the world, but definitely not the shortest, but if you're really long you're probably better off sitting in the front. Now this particular version I'm driving is the ultimate version, which is one of the higher trims. So on this car you get some Alcantara here. It's probably just microfiber, but also some hard plastic here, and also an aluminium looking strip, which is of course also hard plastic, but it does look, well, pretty fancy. Here on the seats you also get the microfiber fabric. You get a USB-C port here. Only one though, that's a bit of a shame, because if you got 2 kids here in the back and you're driving to Spain or France or Italy, it's probably better if you got 2 charging ports to charge iPhones or iPads. Now in the middle, of course, you get an armrest with a little bit of a cubby space where you can leave your phone, and also 2 cup holders. Now because there's plenty of room for your feet under the seat, you could also sit pretty comfortable in the middle but probably not the best place for adults. But for kids, it's alright to put them next to each other. 3 kids, but 3 adults, probably not a wise idea. So let's briefly discuss why one would go for a station wagon and prefer this car over, let's say, a crossover SUV. Nowadays, everybody wants to have a crossover SUV. Why would you want to go for a car like this? Even at Opel, you can get way more crossovers than station wagons. You can go for a Mokka, a Grandland, a Crossland, and they only have a couple of station wagons. Now, I think there are 2 reasons for that. First of all, well, style. Now, of course, this depends on your taste, but like I just said before, everybody has a crossover nowadays. So if you want to be a bit more original, you have to go for a station wagon. But not just for any station wagon. I think personally, this station wagon looks pretty cool. A lot cooler than a lot of station wagons. This car is also very low to the ground. You really notice it when you're standing next to this car. Maybe you noticed it just when I did the presentation outside of the car. I look a lot higher than this car, and I'm, well, again, not really short, but I'm not like a giant or anything. But this car is just really low. Now I think that looks very cool, especially with the front end on this car. That also looks very tough and very mean. But if you're a bit older, I can imagine that you want to go for a crossover SUV that's a bit higher up, that's easier to get in and out of. But if you're a bit younger, and not just my age, but even if you're like 40 or 50, I would definitely recommend going to the Opel dealer and check out this car. If you're thinking about buying an SUV, also consider a car like this. But again, that's all about taste, and everybody has a different taste. So let's talk about the figures, the hard facts on this car. Let's talk powertrains. On this car you can get multiple powertrains, both diesel and petrol, and there's also a plug-in hybrid version. Now at the moment I'm driving the plug-in hybrid version. This is the most powerful version that you can get. This car has 180 horsepower combined with the electric motor and the petrol engine. It's definitely a zippy car. It's not fast, but it is pretty zippy. It does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.7 seconds, which is definitely not bad, and especially because of the instant torque that you get from the electric motor. The first, let's say 50 kilometers or the first 50 meters, this car is pretty fast off the line. You can definitely beat some more powerful petrol cars with this plug-in hybrid version, which makes this car just a lot of fun to drive, to be honest. Now, of course, if you want to have that power all day, you have to make sure that the battery is charged on this car. And there's a 12.4 kilowatt hour battery in the back that you can charge within 2 hours, and then you have a range of around 60 kilometers. Now, in reality, it will be more like 50 kilometers, which still ain't bad. Most Europeans don't drive more than 30 kilometers a day. So that will be more than enough for their daily commute to their work or school or their daily shopping run. Now you can also get normal diesel and petrol engines. It's a 1.2 petrol engine that produces 110 or 130 horsepower, and that's also a diesel engine producing 130 horsepower as well. Then let's discuss the interior. Well, it's basically the same interior that you get in the Opel Astra hatchback. So that means that you get the pure panel in front of you. Now the pure panel is what Opel calls the 2 screens that you get in front of you. You get a digital gauge cluster in front of you, and right next to it you also get a fully digital infotainment screen. They're really close together, and they're behind like one glass panel, so it looks like one big screen, one big panel, which Opel calls the pure panel. It looks very nice. It's all digital, but you do get some physical buttons, which is really nice. Then you don't have to do everything on the infotainment screen. You get a couple of really big physical buttons here for the climate controls, and also some physical hotkeys that you can use to go to a couple of menus here on the infotainment screen. So that's basically everything you need to know in a nutshell about the new Opel Astra Sports Tourer. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And then I'll see you in the next one.